Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Joe Merrick of Serebii.net to discuss the latest Pokémon Sun and Moon trailer and give our thoughts on the new Pokémon and features. So let's get started. Well, Joe, we had a announcement I think 5 minutes after I decided to go to bed. I was up late watching, ironically enough, the Pokemon anime, finishing up the second season of X and Y, and decided to go to bed, and not 5 minutes later, they announced oh, by the way, new information's coming at 9 a.m. Eastern that next day. I wake up at about 45 minutes later. I'm like, oh crap, when'd they do this?
It was completely out of nowhere. Normally they give a week of warning.
No, it was just boom, it's out. And it was completely caught me off guard. I was checking Twitter after I got it all uploaded, and I saw your tweets about having it come out in the morning, and I'm like, oh man, if I only had stayed up just 5 more minutes. So, but what'd you think of the trailer itself? We got a couple new Pokemon and a couple new features. So what'd you think overall before we get into the nitty gritty?
I think it's a really good trailer. I mean, showing a decent amount of stuff, but also showing very little.
That is sort of the theme, is we get a decent amount with each trailer, but we still don't know the real meat of Sun and Moon yet.
No, I don't even think we know a town name yet. Unless there was one of a Treehouse live stream, but we don't even know a single town name.
No, I don't think we do, because all I know is Alola itself and then Melee Island, which is the first island you start at. So, and I know Korokoro is going to be talking about another island next month, but I mean, I guess we'll get a name then and maybe some features. It's really hard to say, but it's kind of interesting. I saw your tweet talking about how they've revealed quite a few Pokemon, and you're a little worried about the amount that they've given, but otherwise we really haven't seen much out of Sun and Moon. Absolutely
not. I mean, we don't even get many screenshots for released either. It's all been video and artwork, very few screenshots. They've been really weird with how they're reviewing it, and I like it. I like them being weird.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because I for some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on why this has been so effective on me. I don't remember myself being so hyped for X and Y. I was still interested, and I was still thinking it was looking good. But Sun and Moon is just doing something to get me excited for every little thing they put out. And just Pokemon in general, between, Go and Pokémon Tournament and me getting into the anime finally and all this other stuff. All of a sudden, I've reached this Pokemon fever that I have not had in years.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are currently feeling that, especially considering Pokemon Go. I mean, that's hit the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. And it's really brought it back, and I'm with you. I really hope that Go is well, I like this, or my kids like this Pokemon Go, and they have a 3DS, and there's this new Pokemon game out. We should get it to them. I really do hope there's some crossover there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Go is probably part of the reason why we got this reveal, and it was so sudden.
That might be it, just capitalize on it.
Yeah, strike while the iron is hot.
That would make sense, but alright, well, let's take a look at our new Pokemon. First up, we have Wimpod, who, I gotta say, he kind of stands out the least out of these new Pokemon for me, but I still kind of like him, just because of his ability, where, if he takes half damage, or more than half damage, he's out of there. He flees, or you can switch him out, which I find to be a pretty interesting ability.
Yeah, that is a very interesting ability, especially competitively, because that can allow for you to, if you don't have Protect, it allows for you to scout out what's going on, so to speak, and then retreat if necessary. Well, you don't have a choice. It's kind of like having an automatic eject button item.
Yeah.
There's the eject button, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. They're getting really creative with the abilities this time around, and a lot of the Pokemon they've introduced have had new abilities attached to them. I don't remember it being quite this prevalent in X and Y, and I don't know. I'm like I said, Wimpod itself, its design is good. It doesn't stand out to me in any real way, but having another bug water type, it all looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The thing is, having watched the anime now, I can totally see what this episode's going to be about when they finally feature Wimpod. It's a scaredy cat Wimpod, and we gotta, teach it to be brave, and it has to be brave in order to get through something. I've been watching too much of that damn anime. Oh boy! But any other real thing to say about Wimpod? Because I'm kind of blanking on them.
I just have a bit of a fear that it's going to lose its nice bug water type and gain the poison type because of the description of it.
Yeah, that I did see that as well. It'd be kind of cool if it had some poison type attacks that it would gradually gain, but do you think do you think it would become bug poison or poison water?
Probably bug poison.
Okay. Yeah.
In my view, but
which we have a lot
it's really
of. Really
hard to say. Yeah.
Well, next up we have Boon Sweet, and I kind of love that name. It's just one of those really clever names that just kind of stands out to you. And I gotta say, looking at this, like reading the profile on the Pokemon website, this thing is like, it looks so happy, looks so adorable, and it has like the worst life. Because it's either used as an air freshener, or it's getting eaten whole by Pokemon because of its smell, or when it does get attacked, it looks so happy while it's running away that people was like, it's fine.
Yeah, that's quite an unfortunate way to live, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Oh boy, but what are your general impressions of Boon Sweet?
I like it, and it kind of reminds me of like apricorns, which were used for Pokeballs back in Gen 2, in the way that it's set out. I mean, but I don't know how usable it's going to be. I mean, it just seems to me to be, oh yeah, you've got your cute grass Pokemon like Cherubi and Cherim, but Cherim can actually be somewhat usable.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it did remind me of as well, is Cherubi, and maybe it'll get a decent evolution that'll help it out, because right now, looking at it, it's seems decent, but nothing that stands out in a real way other than a cute design.
Yeah, hopefully if it does get an evolution, it'll be something which turns absolutely sinister to make up for its troubled life.
It's been hardened, but because of everybody ignoring it or thinking everything's so happy, it's just like, all right, I'm ready to, kick ass. Oh, shoot. And then we have, I believe I pronounce it as Comfey, just based on the way they have the F-E-Y at the end here, but either Comfey or Comfey, and basically our lay Pokemon, which, God, I love it.
You couldn't have a region based on Hawaii without having a Pokemon which is based on LA.
Yeah, no, it's just a little too perfect, and I love how I put out a tweet yesterday of basically saying, hey, Pokemon's guaranteeing we all get laid. And it's like, it blew up in such a stupid way. You see a lay, you gotta use that dumb pun.
Yeah.
But we have another fairy type, and I mean, fairies seem to definitely have a big association with flowers, but this one we have a new triage ability, which basically guarantees that any restorative moves that it uses has the highest priority. So it's basically giving a quick attack to heal moves.
Yeah, and that can be very useful in competitive. Like if VGC is double battles again, then basically if it gets heal pulse, then that can really change out how you use things, because you can just get this priority heal pulse off and set it off on one of your Pokemon which is in the red. Because that can be devastating for various people's strategies. It sounds like a great ability.
Yeah, it could be really interesting to see how people use Comfey in just various ways. The question I actually have, though, is whose ability would win out? Would Comfey go first with its triage, or would Bruxish be able to prevent it from going first with its ability?
That's a good question. I mean, it's hard to say with how Bruxish's ability works, but based on what we've seen, Bruxish's ability would work only if it's targeted. So if the move is used on Comfey or on another Pokemon on the player's side, then I don't think Bruxish's ability would affect it, but if it's targeting Bruxish. But that may not be how it works. We don't quite know yet.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting we had something that prevents these quick moves, and you're right, it might be just because it's targeted, and then something that's makes a quick, an ability that makes certain moves go first. And I don't know, it seems interesting, and I do like its design, how it holds on to the various flowers, it has the oil, and I don't know, again, a lay. Now, do you think it evolves into the hula skirt?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
I'd love it. Just have wear a Comfey and whatever it evolves into, and you have your complete Hawaiian get up.
That would just be that would make the game.
Mm-hmm. No, I do have to say, I love how so many of the Pokemon they've introduced for Sun and Moon they really do feel intrinsically tied to the Hawaiian setting, and it's some great theming going on this generation.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Mudsdale, who I don't know. I like the fact that we got this. We basically have a Clydesdale Pokemon, and he really is like just a powerhouse. And based on the descriptions, it seems like he's going to be super low speed, but high HP and physical attack. Which I don't know, for a ground type that seems to work out pretty well. I think we could be looking at a pretty powerful Pokemon.
Yeah, I completely agree, and especially considering its ability, stamina, whenever it gets hit, its defense increases. That can just... If its defense keeps increasing, then basically it's going to be near unstoppable unless you've got a special attack. It makes me think that maybe its special defense is going to be ridiculously low.
That could be. It would balance it out, but this is definitely a very good defensive wall if you're looking for that sort of thing. And do you think it's going to have an evolution, or do you think this is where it stands out, or do you think it's maybe has a pre-evolution that it goes into?
It's really hard to say. It could be unique, but I doubt it would be at the start of an evolution line.
No, it's either it or something evolves into this. It feels too powerful right out of the bat. Like if it evolves into something else, it's like, holy crap, it's going to be strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it as part of the riding mechanic, which was shown in the trailer that Japan released last week.
Yeah, I did actually have you on for that discussion. What do you think of the riding? Do you think they're actually expanding it so you're able to ride anywhere, or do you think they're still going to keep it limited to where you can go?
I think they might keep it limited. It would be nice if they opened it up, because it would just be nice to just rush through the entire region whilst riding a Zeb Striker or something like that.
That would be awesome.
Ridiculous. I do also like that Mudsdale weighs about as much as Groudon.
Oh wow, it does! Oh my god, that is a heavy horse.
That is a very heavy horse.
I do. Speaking of the riding, it actually has a little blurb about how it's not allowed to run on public roads because of the holes it digs up as it actually runs in earnest. So that may be a hint where it is like, at least Mudsdale is limited to more like off-beaten paths like that we see on the first island, where there is no asphalt or anything like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, it'd be interesting. But as far as the design, I really like Mudsdale. It's good. I don't know if it's going to go on my team yet, because I tend to prefer speedy Pokemon, but not a bad ground type, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. I think I might use it. Just need to see how it runs a bit better. How it runs.
3 days and 3 nights with carrying over 10 tons. That's impressive. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Sheesh. All right. Next up, we have Mimikyu, who has instantly become a fan favorite as soon as you revealed that whole. It basically wants to become Pikachu because of how loved Pikachu is. I think your note is what made Mimikyu just that much more popular.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the craziest designs. And I hope when it first came out, people were like, that has to be fake.
It's like, what are they doing? I'm like, I was the same way. I was like, are they trying to go for a Ditto type thing here, where it disguises itself as different Pokemon and doing something else? Because that is a strange design. And then I immediately see your update where it's like, oh, it does this because it's really lonely, and it knows Pikachu is really well loved, and it just wants a hug and wants to be loved. And I'm like, oh, it instantly melts your heart. This might be the most terrifying thing in existence underneath that cloth, but you don't care because of the feelings behind it. And that's sort of key to Pokemon to me.
Yeah, I think competitively it might also have a decent niche as well, because its ability, Disguise, essentially acts as a free substitute for one hit. Mm-hmm. And that can just really help it scout out. Plus, the way its Disguise works, the way it looks, is just ridiculously sinister and almost dark. If you didn't know that it was a thing in a costume, you'd see its neck break and you'd think, what the hell is going on?
Oh god, I heard it too much. Oh god, it really is paralyzed.
Oh god.
That's awful. But no, I do like that ability, and I really hope it is a solid Pokemon, because I think a lot of people are going to want to use it on their teams, and I'm definitely one of them. Plus, the Ghost Fairy typing interests me. I think that's a really interesting combination, and you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, and it makes it a ghost which is able to take out dark Pokemon. That's always something which is very useful.
Absolutely, and I don't know. I definitely think, like, it's been a while since I've seen a Pokemon as universally loved as Mimikyu. And I think it feels like the Pokemon Company knows they have a winner here because they didn't really change the name much, and they don't really do that unless they have a feeling that the Pokemon is just that strong.
Yeah.
Though I did see on Kotaku that somebody was like, it's a shame they didn't localize it as Peekaboo, which I actually kind of like.
Or Ikachu.
Ikachu, there you go. I love it. I think Mimikyu is definitely a standout, and I'm actually very curious what you think of Beware.
Beware is terrifying. It's just absolutely terrifying. It wants a hug, but if you hug it, you'll end up with a broken spine.
Yeah, pretty much. And it doesn't know its own strength. It's basically swinging its arms around. It can break anything in half. And then it actually mimics black belts in the woods, so it knows martial arts moves. And it's like, dear God, this thing is a just destructive machine. and it has a brand new ability, Fluffy, which cuts the damage in half from any physical attacks, but also it doubles any damage it takes from fire type moves, which I think is an interesting trade-off. Not sure how useful or...
Well, Fluffy kind of works in a similar manner to Furfryle's ability of Fur Coat, except it has the added effect of making it weaker to fire type moves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that does give Beware essentially another weakness, which could probably ruin it, but having that ability boost its physical defense against the contact moves, it, like Mudsdale, is going to be a very strong physical, wall, really.
Yeah, and you definitely prefer Fluffy over Klutz. Klutz, I don't even know why anybody would want that ability. Is there any use, or is it just sort of we don't want that type?
It can be used for various mean strategies. Like if you put something completely horrific like Choice Specs. Choice Specs can be very good on a special attacking Pokemon, but put it on a Klutz Pokemon, it won't activate the effect that the Choice Specs has. But then you could use Trick and switch the item with, say, a physical attacker, and basically it would lock that physical attacker into any move, and it would just not do anything.
Oh, that is devious.
Screw with people.
Okay, I can actually get to, okay. I figured there had to be a use for it somewhere. Just because I don't get into competitive battling, I wasn't sure where it was coming in. But no, I actually really like that idea. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, Beware's design. It's probably the one that I think might be one of the weakest. It's cute, but it's also, I don't know, there's something about the design that's just not clicking with me.
It's a bit simple, and I don't like using that when describing a Pokemon, but it does seem a bit simple.
Yeah, I mean, you have the red head that goes down its back with a red tail, and then just a black body and these white ears, which essentially look like earmuffs. And I've seen some people say Pokemon are way too over designed now, and this is a very simple design, and yet it's not clicking with me at all, and I can't figure out why, because if you look at just the face, it is adorable. But I don't know why it's just not endearing me to it whatsoever.
I think it just it feels under-designed.
That could be it. Huh.
I mean, with the Pokemon we've seen in the last few generations, due to the power of the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo 3DS, they've been able to do a lot more, and so that's allowed the designs to evolve into more stronger, more complex designs. And people don't like that, that's fine, but it stands out with these.
Yeah, it definitely does, and you know what? I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't want to disregard any Pokemon. I think there's always a possibility that one could be useful or just surprise me with how much I enjoy it. But it's not one I'm going to immediately get on my team because I don't really use fighting types or even normal types on my teams that often, but I know their uses. That's pretty much it for our 6 new Pokemon. I think a good mix, and I still think Sun and Moon has stayed pretty strong with their new Pokemon, the new Pokemon they've introduced.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's not really one that I dislike.
No, I'd agree. There's not really anyone I actively dislike. There's a couple I think are a little weaker, but I still don't think they're bad.
Yeah.
That's always kind of a relief when you're going into it, and it's like, oh, good, I don't have to, worry about this sort of thing. But the funny thing is the biggest news out of this, and it's also the one that had like the least amount of time spent to it or devoted to it in the trailer, is hyper training.
Yes.
And this is kind of huge because basically, once you hit, as far as I understand, once you hit level 100, your all your abilities on all your stats are capped. But this allows you to take those stats and just power them up even further. We don't know the exact way they're used, only that you have to go visit a guy named Mr. Hyper and give him bottle caps, and then somehow he's able to boost your moves in some way. And we don't know if there's another cap to it, or if you can take all your bottle caps and just give it to him and just focus on one Pokemon to make just an invincible monster, or what. But on its most basic level, what do you think of hyper training?
Well, from what we've been able to tell, based on the change they showed, they originally showed what we determined to be a rash Pikachu, and it had its IVs. They were pretty low, and then after it's done, its IVs are maximum. Now, this is a massive game changer for competitive play, because a lot of people spend ages breeding their Pokemon, and they often get Pokemon that they really like, which are shiny, which don't have good IVs, or legendary Pokemon, which you can't breed and you'd have to sit and soft reset, like I've been doing for mythical Pokemon all year with the mystery gift. Now this really seems like it changes that, so you can increase the IVs. Now I have two feelings with this. I like that they're doing this, but I dislike that they've done it.
Can you explain a little bit further? Just because I'm guessing you like that you have that option that you don't have to worry about it anymore, but it also kind of negates the idea of those different natures?
Yeah, with IVs, it's essentially the genetics of the Pokemon. So you've got a Pokemon which is strong in attack, and you can breed that, and its offspring would inherit the genetics. And basically, due to competitive play and how it's evolved, people have always gone mostly for you need to have maximum Pokemon. And so over the years, they've made it easier and easier and easier to get Pokemon with the highest IVs. And this essentially allows you to take any Pokemon you have once it's up to level 100 and have it with maximum IVs, which is great because if you're a competitive player and you chose a Rowlet at the start and you want to use its evolution in competitive play, you'd have to breed another one, and you'd have to get it good. Whereas here now you can increase its IVs to maximum. So for competitive play, this is a game changer. There are a lot of people who, unfortunately, they go around the rules and they cheat to get maximum IVs on their Pokemon. So hopefully they will be discouraged from doing this now because it's so easy to get what you want quickly.
And the funny thing is, it's quicker and easier, but yet you still have to get to level 100. There's still a huge gap there. I can't remember. I don't think I've gotten a Pokemon up to level 100 since Gold and Silver. I've never just bothered with it. So, of course, I'm not in the competitive scene, but that's still a lot. It takes a long time to get there. Which my hope, based off this, is that they're actually going to make it slightly easier or allow you to have a way to a little more quickly reach level 100, because maybe that means more trainers, or maybe those extra battles that you can participate in that never gave experience in the old games actually give experience now, and have that fun of I'm battling, but I'm also getting something concrete out of it, which was always sort of my bit of a problem. I loved challenging those stronger Pokemon, but I always I wish I was getting experience off this to keep myself getting stronger. And I don't know if they'll change anything like that to sort of help facilitate hyper training at all, but I can definitely see more people, hopefully through this, get more interested in the competitive side. And I don't know, I can see where you're coming from, where it sort of takes away some of that uniqueness, but it also, I don't think having a time saver is such a bad thing, because I think breeding is still going to be a major part, if only because of egg moves and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a competitive player myself. I enter nationals every year now. I play online so much. I've spent so much time breeding, and when it came to this year's rule set, if for people who don't know, it allows you to use 2 restricted Pokemon in your battle box. So that's Pokemon like Mewtwo, Zekrom, Reshiram, Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza. And like those are just such a pain to get decent versions of, and so being able to do this would be it's going to make things so much easier. So as a competitive player, I absolutely love this. This has opened it up. So many people are going to be able to get in there, because a lot of people have said IVs are terrible, we need to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. It's like, I've always fought against that. I've always said no, they shouldn't get rid of them. And when Pokemon Go recently got found out to have IVs, I saw a lot of people start to go mental about that.
No, I mean, I've never focused too much into IVs or anything like that, but I understand how much depth they add to Pokemon, like much more depth than you'd ever realize as just a normal player. And even though I never could fully understand it or grasp that or go through the whole ordeal in order to get IV perfect Pokemon, I still really enjoyed that it was there for people who wanted it. And I think that's what, to open that up to more people, sort of like how they did with EV training in X and Y, I think is a good thing. It's like they're taking their hidden systems and bringing them to the forefront so people can do whatever they like with it, or make it more accessible to more people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is not a bad thing at all.
No, definitely not. It's really cool to see it. It's so common. It's really cool to see it evolve like this. It's such an easy pun to make, and it just
it really is.
But no, I do really enjoy Hyper Training. Do you think they'll add more content, like post game content, so you can make it easier to get to level 100, or do you think it's still going to be basically go through the Elite Four over and over and over again if you want to level your Pokemon quickly?
Well, it's not really been that much of a slog to do it in Generation 6. Like, my Pokemon in Pokemon X, they somehow managed to get up to level 100.
Oh, okay.
And in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there was a, I don't want to say little trick you could do, where you could scan QR codes of secret bases, and people would put teams of level 100 Blissies on. And you could put the experience point power, O-Power on. You can attach Lucky Eggs, you can go there and you can raise 50 levels so fast. You can get a Pokemon from level 1 up to level 50 in 1, maybe 2 battles.
That is incredible. I did not even know about people using that little trick in order to level each other quickly. It's actually really smart. So, okay, so not too much to worry about here. There's definitely going to be a way to get your Pokemon up to level 100 very quickly.
Yeah, but it's also a good way to make it so that people don't say, oh, I'm going to do this in the middle of a game, and then essentially make the game even easier than it already is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. So what do you think of the changes they're bringing to the Pokemon Global Link, mainly being able to make your own friendly competitions, whether online or locally?
I think that, again, for competitive play, that is an amazing thing. I mean, a lot of competitions are held each year now, leading up to the World Championships, which are next month. There's Nationals, which is an officially held event, and Regionals, where some of them are monitored by the Pokemon Company. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they have the live competition part of the game, and it locks the battle box, so it has the specific rules. But any event which is lower than a regional, so Premier Challenges and some regionals, they didn't have that, so rules had to be watched by the judge to make sure people aren't accidentally putting in the wrong Pokemon and things like that. Mm-hmm. And now with live competitions, with the friendly stuff, you can create the rule set, you can have the person scan the QR code, you can have it online or local. That just opens things up. It really allows the people to create their own competitions. I mean, I'm going to be running competitions for my site using this, because this is just incredible.
It's a really good idea. As soon as you mentioned that, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I could, once I have the game, I could offer it up to people online and challenge people that way, or have competitions and fight as many people as I can using my own team, get my butt actually absolutely kicked because I know it's going to happen, and just really challenge that. I think it would also help get a sense for how competitive play works, or at least an idea of like how to battle humans more so, because the thing is, over the years I really haven't battled that many humans in any of the Pokemon games. I just haven't.
That's a shame.
It is, but the thing is, most of my friends were just not into it at all, and the online system's never been well enough. And I did a little bit in X and Y, but I just never got that far. But I think with Sun and Moon, I do want to make an effort to try to challenge as many people as possible, and I think the Global Link is definitely going to be opening up for that, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to, challenge fans, friends, whoever.
Exactly. And being able to set your own rules within limits, of course, is really a good way to go, because you can say Alola Pokedex only, National Pokedex only, singles, doubles. It's just gonna be amazing.
Yeah, you can change it up each week and have something a little different, so people it stays fresh. It reminds me a lot of the tournaments in Mario Kart 8, where you can just set up a tournament, invite people in, we all fight together, have a good time. It's I don't know, it seems like it's something that'd be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's just really going to help them build the entire competitive aspect of Pokemon, because each year it's been building and it's been growing. This year it's contracted a little. There were less people at each of the nationals than there were last year, which is a shame. So hopefully this will reverse that and push more people into the official competitions. That'd
be awesome. I mean, it's always nice to have even more people show up, have these competitions, and expand the fan base. So yeah, I'm all for this, and that's the thing about Sun and Moon is I have not seen anything about the game yet that makes me worried about it. It feels like it's going to be a wonderful step up from X and Y.
Yeah, I completely agree. But we don't really know much, so...
Yeah, exactly. I guess it's hard to be disappointed when you haven't seen much, but it's also even the little things here and there that I've spotted just when I'm trying to do an analysis on it, I still get a nice vibe off of it. I like the design of Alola. I like the design of the new Pokemon. The structure seems interesting. Real quick, as I mentioned this in the last discussion, what do you think of this Chinese hack rumor? Because I don't buy it 100% yet. There's not hasn't been enough revealed information to verify it to me at all. But the idea of getting rid of the gyms, what do you think of that?
I mean, well, people have been wanting things to be changed up. People keep complaining, it's just the same game over and over again. Got 8 gyms, then the Elite Four. So if they do decide to change that up, I wouldn't be against it.
That's basically where I stand. I think it could be interesting. I'm very curious what the structure would be like now, because 20 years of it being the same basic structure, at least, it has me knowing what to expect. But to change it up completely, it's like, okay, what is my goal now for each town? Do I just go around collecting Pokemon? There's nothing I'm building up to, or what am I? Where's my boss fights essentially?
Yeah, well, part of the thing which I've been thinking about for Sun and Moon is because it's the second generation on the 3DS. Like Black and White was the second generation on the DS, I think the focus is going to be more on a storyline. And so, if there are no gyms, maybe the story will be pushed further.
That seems very likely, and a lot of people have put forth the idea of them wrapping up a lot of the loose ends from X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, especially in regards to the Zygarde stuff and whatnot. So I could totally see that happening. I really could.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Never count Game Freak out. They always surprise us.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Well, any other final thoughts on this latest trailer?
None that are coming to mind. Just how I hope they slow down on showing you Pokemon and show us some game content next. That would be nice.
Switch from Pokemon to features for now, since we have gotten quite a few.
Yeah, we've got 25 Pokemon.
Yeah. Do you think... what's the range you're thinking of in terms of total new Pokemon?
I don't guess.
Is it? I guess is it going to be more, the less, more, or the same as X and Y? I guess since we're going off.
They really shouldn't go less than X and Y because that was low, and a lot of people weren't happy with that.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm hoping for at least 100, but I don't know how likely that is. But that seems like a good number.
Just have to wonder if they worry about reaching the 1,000 mark too quickly.
I guess that's true, but at the rate they're going, I think they're still, maybe a gen or two away from reaching 1,000?
Yeah, it really depends on how many they add.
Yeah, so we will see, but I think that covers it for our Sun and Moon discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Joe, where can we find you at?
At Serebii.net or on Twitter at either SerebiiNet or Joe Merrick.
Awesome. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Pokemon and other things gaming too. Until next time, guys, bye.